there was not supposed to be a team this year. The best tasters of this year's South African Wine Tasting Championship have decided to team together and at their own cost take the risk of facing the rest of the world. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, obviously trying to get a team together at the last minute isn't easy. There's not enough time to practice. We don't know each other. We don't know where the strengths and the weaknesses lie. So that's very challenging. Also, the top five couldn't be there, which was a pity. Gavin and myself both came in the top five, so that helped. But overall, I'm very proud of how we did. With all the circumstances, I think we did really well.
Every year, it's the Team South Africa supposed to make a drive through France. There was nothing organized this year, but you managed to make your little trip before. Where have you been?
This time I went to the south, to the Roussillon. One stop in the Minervois, and then to the Roussillon in St. Paul. In your little town, we stayed there, which was great. And from there, we took the drive up to Châteauneuf. Tasted in Gigondas a little bit, and then after the championships, I went up to Beaujolais as well, and tasted in Morgon, which was amazing. So it was all over. We tasted a few amazing wines.
There's a new format in the World Championship, as you've seen. The first 6 wines are blind, and then what happens?
So the new format it's amazing. It puts a lot of pressure sort of on you after the first 6 wines. So you taste the first 6 wines, and they don't reveal after the first 6 wines what you've tasted. So they put the scores up, but you don't know what the wines were. And then they do it wine for wine. So after wine number 7, they reveal it and they update the scores. And so we go on right to the end. And then only do they reveal the first 6 wine that you've tasted. So it creates a lot of suspense, which is great for the teams. But it also puts a lot of pressure on sort of knowing what you've put down for the first 6 wines. Do you take the gamble and put the same thing down if you think you've got it again? Or do you choose something else?
There were some beautiful wines in the blind tasting, and some of them you didn't know because they were part of the 6. The big question is, have you been identifying the South African wine?
Yet again, no. No, for the how many time we couldn't identify the South African wine. I don't think anyone called it South African. It was Ruben Rothschild, if I remember correctly, Merlot, Cab, and a bit of Malbec. At least we got the grape variety. We called it Merlot, but we weren't in South Africa with it. So.
And there was another surprising wine that was a Chenin Blanc. Tell us about this Chenin Blanc.
The Chenin that we got was probably one of the most difficult wines. All the teams struggled with it. It was a Chenin Blanc from Argentina. Never tasted in my life. Didn't know they made quality Chenin Blanc in Argentina. So that was a very, very difficult one. Everyone struggled with it.
What did you call it for?
Oh, I can't even remember. I'll have to go back and look at my notes. We didn't call it Chenin at all. We weren't near to close to Chenin at all.
So there were some what people call bankers. What were your bankers?
The Nebbiolo, definitely. Then that was from Italy, from Barolo. Vinjon, the last wine. Savigny, that was we got that spot on except for the producer. Champagne, that was a nice easy one to start with, from Bollinger. So there were a few sort of relatively solid wines, a couple of Pinot Noirs. The Burgundy was strange because it was very New World in style, very oaky. And then the Sancerre we didn't call. There was a Sancerre Pinot Noir, and once again, everyone struggled with that. So there were a few sort of relatively easy wines, and then a lot of very difficult wines.
For the finals of the South African Wine Tasting Championship, you were served Austrian wine, a Groenewald from Knoll, a Federspiel 2018. What did you have in the World Championship?
We had almost the same wine. It was, I think, a level below it in quality, but we also had the Groenewald 2018 by Knoll. We didn't spot it. The Austrian team didn't get it. For us in South Africa, I think it's a matter of exposure. We don't get to taste Austrian Groeneveltliner or Argentinian Chenins any day of the week. So I think we're at a bit of a, a handicap when it comes to tasting those wines. And I think the more we can get those wines in South Africa, the better we'll do going forward in the championships as well.
You captained this year because you were the most experienced of the tasters and you were the winner co-winner of
Co-winner.
the South African Wine Tasting Championship this year. Congratulations again. You are qualified for the final for next year. Are you going to start practicing soon?
I always practice. No, I think we'll practice for the finals closer to the time. It's just a matter of keep on tasting, trying to get new wines to South Africa so that we can share new stuff. That'll be amazing if we can get some Austrian wines in South Africa and just share it with everyone in the finals or in preparation leading up to the finals. I think those sort of things will start making a difference, and it'll show in the final team as well, I think.
If you have any advice for someone wanting to join Team South Africa, what do you think they should do to practice?
I think two things are very important. I think tasting, and tasting as broadly as you can is very important. And then theoretical knowledge, just reading up on grapes and their characters and then specific regions as well. I think so. Those two things, tasting and theory, is key.